Hello guys, this is Asharam and in this video I'll discuss the solution of problem C and D of Codeforces Educational Round 102. So let's get started with the problem C. So in this problem you are given a sequence of A of n elements like this 1 2 3 and then till k 2k minus n, and now you have to find a permutation of P using which you will create a sequence B like this. Okay, so now we have to find the lexicographically maximum permutation P such that total number of inversions in B does not exceed the total number of inversions in A. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, let's try to find out the number of inversion in sequence A. So our sequence A is 1 2 3 till k, and then k minus 1 till n minus, let's check it, it is, sorry, it is k minus n minus k. Okay, so now if you observe carefully, then in this part there are no inversion. So if you take 2 I comma j in this array, in this subarray, then you won't get any inversions, because in the sorted, if the array is sorted in increasing order, the number of inversion are 0. Okay, so now let's try to find out the number of inversion in remaining part of the array. So let's say we choose j as this k minus 1. Then you can see that in this whole remaining array, in this whole array, only one element is greater than k, is greater than k minus 1, that is k. That is, this element will correspond to one inversion. After that we'll have k minus 2 here, and then we'll have k minus 2 here, k minus 1. Okay, so if you observe carefully, then you can see that number of inversion number, suppose you choose j as this. Okay, a of j is k minus 2. So now number of elements less than k minus 2 in this remaining array is 3. Okay, so it will contribute to 3 inversion. So on, if you see, if there is any k minus, if there is any k minus ith element, then it will contribute to I minus 1 inversion. Okay, and so on we are doing till n minus k. So you know that sum of first k odd terms, sorry, sum of first m odd terms is 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus till m is m square, and we are doing it till n minus k, that is n minus 1, n minus kth odd term. So its sum will be n minus k square. So now we need to create sequence B from the permutation P such that total number of inversions does not exceed n minus k whole square. Okay, so let's say we have created some permutation P of length k, p1, p2, and then pk. Now we'll create sequence, let me add the page first. So now we'll try to create B from this. Okay, so V is what? P of AI, P of AI. Okay, so if I is 1, then AI is 1, so B1 is P1. Okay, so on till k you'll get BIS PK, and after that you'll get it like this, k minus 1, and so on till PK and minus k. Okay, so this is our sequence B for some permutation P. Okay, so now let's try to calculate the number of inversion in this permutation. So this B can be divided into two parts. Okay, so this is PK, then PK minus 1, then PK minus n minus k. Similarly, we have PK n minus k and then so on till here. So you can observe, and then we left pk minus 1 here, and then remaining part is p1 to p2n minus k, and this will be, sorry, it is 2k minus n, 2k minus n minus 1. Okay, because it is 2k minus 1, so this term should be 2k minus n minus 1. Okay, so now, so number of inversion in b is number of inversions in this part. So you choose I comma j here, plus number of inversions in this part. You could, if you choose I comma j here, I and j here, and if you choose I here and j here. So there are three parts. Okay, so first we'll discuss this part, this, that is this red part, first part. So now, even in this array, even in this subarray, we can divide it into two subarrays. Okay, so one subarray is this and another subarray is this. So you can see that this subarray, this subarray is the reverse of this array, reverse of first subarray. Subarray, first subarray is this. Okay, till k, first subarray. Okay, so now if the number of inversion in this is, let's say, np, number of inversion in this is np, then the number of inversion in this second subarray will be n minus k plus 1 c2, because total number of pairs are, because there are k n minus k plus 1 elements in this array. Okay, and hence there can be n minus k plus 1 c2 pairs. Okay, let me write it completely. So hence there can be n minus k plus 1 c2 pairs. So initially we had only np inversions. Okay, now if you reverse the order of the array, then the pair which was initially inversion will not be the inversion, but those who were not inversion will become the inversion. So it will just get reversed. Okay, so number of inversions here will be n minus k plus 1 c2, n minus k plus 1 c2. So this is when we choose I comma j either in this part or either in this part. Now another choice we'll have is we choose I in this part and j in this part. Okay, so now if you observe carefully, it doesn't matter if you keep this array sorted. I mean, if you sort the array, even then the number of inversion won't change, because we are choosing I here and j here. So the position of pi here doesn't influence the number of inversion. Okay, so suppose that there is some random pi, so we just have to find the number of elements which are less than pi here. So you can see that these two arrays are equivalent, that is, this is just the reverse of this array. Okay, so there will be a minimum element here. Okay, there will be a minimum element here, then there will be a second element. Suppose you have sorted the array, suppose, let's say, okay, let's say you have sorted the array and you got something like this, p1 and something m, something. Okay, m is the length of this subarray. Okay, so now all the elements in this array are, all the elements in this array are less than equal to, sorry, are greater than equal to p1. So this element won't contribute to any inversion. Okay, and then p2, only p1 is smaller than p2 in this array. Okay, so you will observe that the number of inversions in this case will be, there are total n minus k elements in this array. Okay, so it will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus n minus k. So it will be n minus k into, sorry, it will be till only k minus 1, and minus 1 n minus k upon 2. So this is, you can write as like this, minus n minus k by 2, and you can write it like this, n minus k plus 1 whole squared, um, n minus 1 k plus 1, and then something like, wait, let's evaluate it here. Let me add a page, new page after, and this is, let's cut it, this is our n minus k c2 if you observe carefully. So now we'll have total number of inversion as c2 plus n minus k plus 1 c2. Okay, and now if you evaluate this expression, then you'll get n minus k square. So let me show you the evaluation first. N minus k minus 1 upon 2 plus n minus k plus 1 and n minus k. So take n minus k common, so we'll have n minus k into 2n minus k minus 2k minus 1 plus 1 upon 2, so it will be n minus k square. So you can see that total number of inversions, total number of, let me use a highlighter, wait. So total number of inversion in this part of the array is n minus k square, that is equal to the number of inversion in A. So it means that we can't have any more inversion in either this part, that is when we choose I and j in this part only, and when we choose I here or j, when we choose I here and j here. Okay, so it means that every other contribution of inversions should be 0. Okay, so now if it has to be 0, if the contribution of this part has to be 0, then all the elements should be in sorted order. Okay, as I explained earlier, and also all the elements here should be smaller than all the elements here. Okay, so that if we choose I here and j here, then it doesn't contribute to any inversion. So what we have seen is part 1 array should be sorted, and all the elements, so ai should be less than aj for all I in part 1 and j in part 2. Okay, so and we have to also maximize it lexicographically. Okay, so what we can do is, so you can see that first part has 2k minus n minus 1 elements, so we can just have 1 2 3 and 2k minus n minus 1. Okay, so this is our first part. After that we can have k minus 1 and till 2k minus n. So you can see that all the elements here in this part are less than this is sorted, and yeah. Okay, so we have chosen p in this way, so this satisfy all the above conditions. Now we have to show that it is the lexicographically maximum. Okay, so we know that we have to keep it sorted. So suppose that we don't use either of these element here, so you can see that we cannot replace this, means we cannot interchange them. So suppose that you want to use 3 here and some elements here, then it will cause errors, because any element, let's say here is some a m and here is some a l. So if you interchange those, so am will be here, al will be here, then am will be greater than al, and it will contribute to inversion, which we don't want, as we have proved. Okay, so all the elements, and also here you cannot swap any elements. So if you swap 3 or 2, then you will get an inversion. So hence this is the lexicographically. Also we have to keep it like this. Okay, we cannot have like k minus 1 and k, because then this is obviously lexicographically maximum. So yeah, so just the code for it will be simple. We can just take a loop from 1 to 2k minus n minus 1, print them. Then we can use a loop from k to 2k minus n, and then we can print them. You can have a look at my code. So it is pretty simple. Okay, so now let's discuss the problem D. So in the problem D, you are given an instruction, and initially a variable x is 0. After that you can increase x by 1, decrease x by 1, and now you have to answer m queries. Okay, so in the m queries, what you can do, so you will be given L comma R. So you have to ignore all the operations between L and R. Okay, and then you have to tell how many distinct values x can take. Okay, so this is a pretty simple problem using segment trees. So you have suppose that on performing the sequence you get the values of x like this: x1, x2 until xn. Now you ignore, suppose this is xl and this is xr. So now you have ignored it. Okay, so now what will happen? Xr plus 1. Okay, and then dash. So now we have ignored it. Okay, so what can be the, so we have to find the range. So what I mean by ranges, so minimum element, suppose that so number of distinct values, first define number of distinct values is equal to maximum value taken by x minus minimum value taken by x, and then plus 1. Okay, because the operations are continuous, so you can't reach 2 to 4 directly. You have to go to 2 to 3 and then 4. Okay, so if the minimum is somewhere mn and maximum is mx, so all the integers between mn and x will be taken by x as its values. Okay, so now we just have to find this value. So we have ignored it, and now we have to find the remaining values of this maximum minus, so in the remaining array. So now so okay, xl minus 1. So suppose that we know the minimum value here, minimum and maximum. Let's denote by then mx1. Okay, and now suppose that you also know the minimum and maximum value here in this part. Let's denote them by mn2 and mx2. So now we have ignored them. So at L minus 1th operation, value of x was xl minus 1. Okay, so now so minimum value of x will be mn2 minus xr, because we can just assume that we can just subtract xr from all of these values. Okay, so then we'll get it like that. Suppose we have, so we'll get the result if we would have started 0 comma, if x would have been 0, then the values taken by all x's. Okay, so we can get those values by subtracting all the values from xr. So even then mn2, mn2 will simply be mn2 minus xr. Okay, mn2 minus xr. So hence, so in the, okay, so value of x minimum in xl minus 1 until here will be this. So now we can just take the minimum of mn1 comma xl minus 1 plus mn2 minus xr, and for maximum value we can take mx1 xl minus 1 plus mx2 minus xr. Okay, yeah. So now these are our minimum and maximum values. So our answer will be mx minus mn plus 1. Now we should be able to find the minimum and maximum value in either O1 time or O log n time, because we can't have On time. Otherwise, our algorithm will be On square, which is pretty inefficient. So for finding the minimum and maximum values using segment trees is a standard problem, which you can find on Geeks or any other platform. So the complexity of it will be n log n. Okay. So yeah, that's it. You can have a look at my code. I've used the segmentary code from Geeks for Geeks. So it had direct code for minimum and maximum value, and otherwise everything is simple to understand, just like I have shown you. Okay. So that's all for now. I hope you would have enjoyed the video. Thank you very much.